This is one of the greatest parts about Germany because I think there are so many things like this in Germany. There's so many social groups, there's so many different classes and places you can go to meet other people. Hey guys, it's Graham with AuPairWorld, and in today's video I'm going to be giving you the complete guide for being an au pair in Germany. Whether you are at the very beginning of the au pair process or whether you're already into it a bit, this video I'm going to be going through step 1, very basics, all the way through your entire au pair stay, essentially, to being an au pair in Germany. All the things that you need to know to get started, to be happy, and to find a family as an au pair in Germany. This video is made from my experience as an au pair in Germany and an au pair in Spain, so I'm kind of pooling the knowledge that I have from those two experiences to make this guide for you, to break down the process, and to make things just a bit simpler for you as you are looking to be an au pair in Germany. So I know your time is valuable, I'm not going to waste it. Let's jump into the first thing you need to know, which is think about when you want to go to Germany. I know this sounds a bit basic, but thinking about when you want to go to Germany is probably the most important step in becoming an au pair in Germany. Of course, there's going to be host families looking for au pairs year round, but I would say the majority of host families in Germany are going to look for an au pair that's going to start when school starts or right after Christmas or in the summer. What? Regardless of when you want to be an au pair in Germany, I suggest you start looking for a family somewhere between 3 and 6 months before your planned start date. So for example, if you're starting in July, I would start looking for a host family perhaps in the spring of the prior year. So for example, if you are looking to be an au pair in Germany, say in August of 2022, I would start looking for a host family in late winter, early spring of 2022. A big thing to think about when you are considering your start date is German winters are very cold and wet. Again, seems kind of obvious, but if you're starting at a time where it's really cold and dark and wet, it's going to be harder for you to get into the groove of things and get to know your host city and your host family if all you can do is really stay inside. If you can't do much outside, if you can't do much exploring. So I do suggest, if you have the opportunity to start in the warmer months where it's not so chilly and dark and rainy, start when you have the opportunity to get to explore your city and get to meet other people. So once you've determined when you want to go to Germany, now it's time to actually look for a host family. Germany is a country of a lot of variety. I know that the typical stereotype of Germans doesn't have a lot of variety, but in reality, Germany is a country with a lot of variety, a lot of different people, and a lot of options. One of the biggest things that you should consider when you're looking for a host family in Germany is, do you want to speak German in the house, or do you want to speak English or whatever your native language is? I know many au pairs in Germany that speak English with their host parents, which fascinates me because in Spain it's totally the opposite. All the au pairs speak Spanish with the families. But being that German is a difficult language, a lot of host families will want to speak to you in English. Naturally, if you're wanting to speak German and really immerse yourself in the German language, you should probably look for a family that's going to speak to you in German and perhaps even go somewhere a bit more rural, a bit less urban and modern. A lot of the smaller villages in Germany don't have that much English capabilities or English speakers, so that definitely would be something to consider. And lastly, you should think about the type of activities that you want to be doing. I was an au pair in Munich, and I specifically chose Munich for all the hiking opportunities, all the lakes, and the cool mix between nature and city. If you're looking for a more young person, hip vibe, maybe you should go for something like Berlin. If you're looking for internships or business opportunities, Frankfurt might be a good choice for you. Needless to say, there really is options for everyone in Germany, and I have no doubt you'll find somewhere that matches you, even if it might take a couple tries. So once you've found a host family and once you've determined the time that you're going to go to Germany, it's time to get ready for your trip. The number one thing I have to say here is study German. German is a very difficult language. I think in the 5 videos I've made for AuPairWorld about Germany, in each one of them I've talked about how difficult German is, and it's no exaggeration. German is a very challenging language. It's very difficult, very intricate, and you should start studying it as soon as possible. Even if you're going to a host family that's going to speak to you in a language that's not German, just in order to get by in social situations or as common courtesy of living in Germany, you should be learning a bit of German. Another step before you actually go to Germany is to apply for a visa if you need one. I myself, as an American, do not need a visa to enter Germany. We can get our visas once we're in Germany, but it's very possible that you come from a country where you would need a visa to go to Germany, and that's one of those things you need to work out before you actually go. If you don't know whether you need a visa or not, AuPairWorld has a great tool for this under the Countries tab, or you could always send an email to the consulate or embassy of Germany in your country. The last thing you should do before you're going to Germany is save a bit of money. Now, I know this is a bit controversial, but I think Germany is quite an expensive country. If you're coming from the US or really any country south of Germany, you're probably gonna think that Germany's really expensive. If you're coming from any country north of Germany, you'll think that the prices are pretty good. But compared to Spain and America, the prices in Germany can be quite high. So I would come with a bit of savings just so you won't have to be constantly thinking about money and how you can save money. So at this point in the process, hopefully you have made it to Germany, congratulations, and I want to give you a few tips on how you can make the most of your stay once you're in Germany. One of the biggest things I learned about Germans is Germans aren't necessarily friendly in the sense that we Americans consider them, but they are very helpful and genuine. One of the biggest stereotypes I heard about Germans before I went to Germany was that Germans are mean and unfriendly, and that's really not the case. Germans are generally very nice people. They're very helpful, and although they may look unfriendly, like they're not as likely to compliment your shoes in the grocery store as an American would. But when you do go and ask for help or you do need something, I find Germans to be very helpful, very willing to help others. Germany is a country that is very used to foreigners. They're very used to immigrants coming from different countries. They're very used to different languages. So I never had any issues with Germans helping me out. And of course, not everyone is the friendliest, but that's the same in any country you go to. It's the same in America. It's the same in Spain. So I definitely think that Germans in general are very nice people and they are very willing to help you out. So don't be afraid to ask for help if you need it. Another big shock for me when moving to Germany was German honesty. This is one of those stereotypes that I think is totally true. Germans are brutally honest and they don't mean anything by it. They don't mean to insult you or be rude. I think it's just the way they communicate. I was always amazed in Germany at how my German friends would just say what they're thinking. And that's not something that's really natural for the Americans. Sometimes we say the opposite of what we're thinking, whereas Germans really don't. If they think it, they're going to say it, which I also find really nice in certain situations. So if you're having problems or if you're uncomfortable, just be honest. Tell your host parents. Germans really appreciate honesty and it's something that they manage quite well. The last thing in my guide to being an au pair in Germany is to find groups or find friends. As I was saying earlier, Germans aren't the most, I suppose, outwardly friendly people as Americans are. They're not as likely to talk to strangers on the streets as we would, but once you do get in their friend groups, I think it's super easy to make friends. So it's imperative that you try to find a group of people or just some other people that you can hang out with. This is one of the greatest parts about Germany because I think there are so many things like this in Germany. There's so many social groups, there's so many different classes and places you can go to meet other people. I'll give you a few examples that I ran into while I was an au pair in Munich. There was a hiking club, there were religious clubs, dance classes, volunteer organizations, journey classes, design classes, crocheting classes, a joggers group, a yoga group. I mean, you get the point. There's a lot of different groups and things in Germany, a lot of which you don't even have to pay for, they're free, and you should definitely take advantage of that. There's also a huge variety of foreigners in Germany. I never had any problems finding Americans. As a matter of fact, I would often get frustrated at how many Americans I found. So you won't have any problems finding people from your country or finding people that speak your language. I promise. If they're anywhere, they're in Germany. Okay guys, this is my complete guide to being an au pair in Germany from the very beginning to the very end. Let me know in the comments what you think about this, and if you have any questions, drop them in the comments and I or someone else from the AuPairWorld team will be sure to answer them very soon. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and we will see you next time. Thanks so much, muchas gracias, and hasta luego. Ciao.